Pay attention to this. This is really important. How to recover on the court. How do you recover on the court? If I hit a ball in the back here, with which foot am I going to recover back into the court? There are junior players who do it with the left foot. And then what happens? They lose the space and they lose their balance. Hit the ball, take the split step back, cross over, get back to your position. The side stepped back and the side step moving forward is very important. It's important that he learns how to hit with higher altitude, with a higher ball, then he knows he has more time. If he hits the ball precise and flat, you're gonna have problems in your recovering depending on where you hit the ball. And that's why you've got to know the zones. You've got to know the ritmos and the recovery. It's important to understand the rhythm. It doesn't do any good to just come out and hit the ball hard. I already know that Tennyson knows how to hit the ball really well, and he knows how to hit hard. But that's totally different than what we're talking about here.
This will be easier to read in English. Okay, and this one.
Physical conditioning, psychology of tennis. This has more than 200 different exercises and practices. I got this book from a coach, a German coach. His name's Richard Schonwood. He works for the International Federation of Tennis. He's a scientist in tennis. He's discovered many more techniques, accelerations, recovery on the court, and with him I've been with him in workshop studies throughout the world, learning how to recover on the courts. We've watched videos and analyzed the movement and how quickly a player moves and develops his speed. For example, there are some players who have trouble moving forward. There's some who have problems moving back and some who moving to the side. But where is your strength in the legs? Where does it need to be in order to move well in either of those directions? So what we want to be able to do with Tennyson is be able to teach him how to develop that in his game and how to be able to identify that weakness in the opponent. And that's how we'll become professional. Everything is on a professional level. It's not just let's go train to train. It's training with purpose, with 100% effort, full-time, 100%.
Here's Walter's win in Trinidad.
Walter Barahona and his wins in the Davis Cup. Walter played Davis Cup for 10 years. International Tennis Federation Manual of Training. Advanced Training Manual. These are the courses that I've taken. The material in here to give Tennyson and biomechanics, psychological aspects, strength, velocity, reaction to velocity, jumps, small, large. There's an infinity of things that a professional should know. It's important that Tennyson learns how to move, displace himself on the court, moving here and there, to and fro, to better be able to play the ball. And that's what Roger Federer does, better than anybody else. It's exactly right. When I was watching Roger Federer in Fort Lauderdale, I was watching at the tournament Sony Ericsson, and all of the coaches, we coaches, were there to watch the players, see how they play. We watched him play Juan Martín del Potro, Djokovic, and we also analyzed Pete Sampras and Martina Hingis and several other women and many men. There were moments when, in watching one specific player, how he hit the ball, how did he move on the court, and that way we learned a lot. We didn't just go to watch. We didn't just go to the match to watch the game and move our heads back and forth without seeing how the player was really playing. So Tennyson needs to go to those matches. We need to go to those matches and analyze how those players are playing, so Tennyson can arrive at his own conclusions at how to hit the ball, how to move. This is all mental training. He's going to analyze better, understand situations in real life, where and how Roger Federer hit the ball and how he hit it, and now I can hit it that way. Let's go practice it and reinforce that ability. Identify the weaknesses in our game to become powerful on the court. Identify your best shots, where you're the strongest. Is it your serve? Is it your backhand? My best shot is this. It's very important to know. Tennyson needs to do an auto-analysis, self-analysis, to identify his own weaknesses. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Your best shot, your weakest shot, so that we can strengthen those weaknesses. Because you have to be a complete player to be a professional player. You can't just live with a certain weakness. You've got to improve it. So we'll identify what it is, then analyze it, and be able to eliminate problems in your game. By understanding your abilities and your strengths, if you know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you can analyze what's happening on the court, you'll become a complete player. This is very important. That's your homework, is to write down what your strengths are. I'm great from the baseline, or like Nadal, or like Roger Federer, I'm a serve and volley player when I go to Wimbledon. Now, Roger Federer didn't do very well on clay because he was a net player. He identified his weakness and over time strengthened those weaknesses to the point where he was able to win at Roland Garros and win on clay. He had to find trainers and coaches that knew how to play on clay, and that's what he did. And he strengthened and learned how to play on clay. And then later, you can, like him, if you can learn how to play on clay, you can play on hard court. If you start learning how to play on clay, it's a lot easier to play on hard court than it is to go the other way around. To know how to play on hard court, you come to clay. So it's important that Tennyson identifies and does this self-analysis, identifies his strengths and his weaknesses,